We're going to be mixing it up a little bit today. I'm going to be introducing you to two of the most amazing, inspiring, influential women in my life, my mom and my mormor. Three generations of women sitting in one Zoom room, and there will be giggles. There will be life wisdom that is passed down. We're going to be talking about what to do when we feel overwhelmed and we don't have hope, how the world has changed throughout their lives, and so much more. So I cannot wait to introduce you to them. I hope you enjoy. I am excited to introduce the world to you because, oh, already going to start crying. Because you two are the tallest shoulders that I stand on.
Oh no.
We're a couple sentences in. But for real, the world doesn't often have as good of moms and mormors that I have. And it's also a very rare thing that three generations can sit in a Zoom room or a room in general. And you all have so much wisdom to share and yeah, just have lived beautiful lives. So I wanted to ask some of life's hard questions and questions that are on a lot of people's minds right now. And some people just don't have the moms and mormors that I do. So I wanted to share some of you with the world. So without further ado, my first question for you all is you both have lived in times that are quite different than now. And so I'm curious, maybe we start with Mormor since you are
The oldest.
the oldest. And also for context, Mormor is mother's mother in Norwegian.
Mhm. And
And
and we have no Norwegian blood in us, but
well, and the funny, well, so you have a fascinating story. Whenever I tell people how cool you are, I mean, you lived in a time which we can get into where you didn't have as many rights as I do now, or that my mom has now. And you took life by the reins a bit and decided to become a teacher and go teach abroad. And you've taught in both Cairo and Norway, which is why you're called Mormor. And then you came back and you renovated an 1800s church into your bed and breakfast, which you still live in today, which is where you're calling from. And
yeah.
so that's the short and sweet of it. But I mean, her house is full of the coolest collection of things from her travels, and you've really shown what it means to live life outside of the box and not take no for an answer. I get some stubbornness, I think, from you. But I will start with the question of what's something that you didn't have growing up that you now have in today's world, or what ways is today's world different than the ways that you had when you were growing up?
Growing up, one of the largest things that we didn't have that you have now is social media. And because we didn't have social media, and Chris, you didn't have it either for a
Even in
long
my
time.
life, I didn't have it, not until
Yeah.
high school, really. Yeah.
But then what I'm about to say applies to all three of us in a sense. But there was more interaction personally, one on one, without that social media. I spent a lot of time outside playing in the dirt. And that might be why I appreciate nature so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we go off of you speaking about it, is there anything that you want to share of what it was like to live in a world where you did have less rights than you do now, or what that was like to gain those rights, or anything around that?
I question it at an early age. Why can a boy do that and a girl can't do that? I didn't fight back until later in life, and then like you just said earlier, I have problems with the word no. Well, why can't I?
Why not?
Why not?
Yep.
You can't do that. Well, why not? And I remember your mother saying once, well, I did it because nobody told me I couldn't do it. So,
I said that.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the traits of mom is that you'll say so many wise things. I've actually started writing down all of them, but I'll repeat them back to her, and she'll be like, "Oh, that was smart. I did say
Yeah,
that. Oh, okay."
she has said she's done that to me too. One is, well, he has many fine qualities. Well, I don't remember saying that, but it's so true.
Oh, yeah. You definitely said that.
Okay.
Been
That for
repeated many,
context,
many times.
that's when we're talking about someone that usually it has to do with partnership, but maybe it's somebody just in the world that kind of complaining about them a little bit, but then we come circle back to they have many fine qualities.
They
Yeah.
may not be living up to our standards at the moment, but
Well, and I think the message too is that nobody's perfect. We
right.
focus, you don't want to focus on things that are the less than perfect things about them, but let's stay focused on all of things that are good because
Full
there's
spectrum.
many fine qualities.
Just to balance out the scale. If we're going to complain about some things, we're also going to throw in
Yeah.
some things that are also positive. So, what about you, Mom? What was the, and also I'll give more a little introduction, but I can give you one too. I call you my life MVP. The amount of foundational wisdom, support, always listening. I think you were made to be a mother. There's something in you deep down that was just has done being a mother the best that you could do it. Like,
Oh, well,
period.
now
Um,
you're making me cry.
you've made me cry plenty of times from just the amount of support and care and love. Like I said, not everybody gets it. So I would like to share some of the wisdom and things that you've passed down. I quote you on a daily. Like there are things that just wisdoms that have gotten passed down and things that sometimes I'll be talking with clients and it'll just come out. And sometimes I think about how I went to all this schooling and did all this stuff, but it started at home. And one of the things too is that you made therapy approachable and safe from young. Like you went to your own therapy, supported me going to therapy. I think about how differently my life would be if I didn't have your influence in that. And
So thank you. That's a very nice introduction. I've said it at least a million times, but I don't think there's a person on the planet that wouldn't benefit from a good therapist. Not all therapists are good, and some are good, but not good for an individual. I'm glad that you were open to that and that you benefited from it. And look where you are now, passing along that same wisdom and skill to a lot of people.
just as you were saying that, it reminded me of one of the things growing up is that you would never make us do something like you would hold boundaries and things, but it would be like, here's an introduction to this thing. You can go if you want. I suggest it. I recommend it, but I'm not going to force that. And I feel like growing up, it really allowed me to make my own decisions. You offered a lot of choice and a lot of listening to what my perspective was. And I think maybe if you had tried otherwise, I would have rebelled against it, but I just respected you. Like I think about this one time that I came home late after curfew, which didn't happen very often, but I did come home late one time. You were sitting on the couch and you said, "So is this okay now?" And I said, "No." And that was all that there needed to be. And I was never late again. Just because I respected you. It wasn't like there needed to be repercussion because you always had this positive regard and curiosity and just overall ability to maintain my own autonomy. Just a little bit more of your introduction. So, what about you? What was something that wasn't around in your childhood that we have now in today's world?
Well, I don't mean to repeat answers because that's kind of a family rule, right? If we go around the table, you have to have a different answer
Yeah.
than the person that just spoke. But the internet is a huge thing. There were so many things that we did growing up that my parents didn't know where we were or what we did. So the world is different today that kids don't get that chance to be on their own, figuring things out, interacting face to face with people. An example I think of in my early 20s, my mom left the country to live far, far away. And the only technology that we had was to write letters to each other back and forth. So that's different too. I have a box full of letters.
Which has been really cool to find. I found a letter that it was you writing to MorMor while she was in Egypt, I believe, about you're going to be a grandmother. What do you want to be
Mhm.
called? She's
Yeah.
like, I'm not ready to be called grandma, but I will be called MorMor. It was cool to, I mean, to have that as a tangible source of communication that I can read and cherish. Okay, so my next question for you is what's one lesson that you wish everyone could learn earlier in life?
Am I first?
Go for it. Yeah, it seems like it.
Mine's very brief. I would suggest curiosity, to be curious, period. Just be curious. Ask questions,
Yeah.
seek answers. That's it.
Yeah. I think that's one of the most foundational things in my philosophy
It
too.
took
So
me
like,
many
yep.
years to get to that point. I accepted uh, too much and I wasn't asking questions. Now there's a lot of questions. Why do they do that? Why is that?
That's a good answer. Good answer.
Well, and curiosity bridges so much of our differences, especially in today's world. It's very polarizing. We need to be asking questions. How is that for you? Can you tell me a little bit more about that? And really exploring what someone else's perspective is can bring us a lot closer to love and unity and, yeah, coming together than just judging or saying, oh, it is that way and it's set in
I was
stone.
just going to say that. I mean, it really does put off the judging step. Having more information helps you get a better picture and relate more. I think people are too quick to judge, and if they just ask some of those early on curiosity questions, their decision later might be a completely different judgment.
Yeah. And we have a lot more in common than we think we do. We might
Yes,
have some pretty big differences. Not going to say that that's not true, but we do have a lot more in common than we think we do.
Yeah.
And the more that we do stay curious, the more that it helps us find those threads of commonality
yeah,
and coming together really becomes a lot easier. I like the phrase of two hearts that are far apart need to yell in order to hear each other. I feel like curiosity helps with not having to yell. Like, I think curiosity is communicating that I don't understand, but I want to. There's a form of love in that. Completely on the curiosity train. What about you, Mom?
I wish I had learned how to relax sooner and, kind of keep things in perspective. That was not something that my mother taught me, how to relax. Society
Yes.
didn't teach me that, something that I had to figure out. And if people would learn that earlier in life, I think life would be better.
Well, can you say more about what shifted for you? Or because relax, that's a big, tall order in today's world now.
It is.
It's hard to, what do you mean by relax? I'm sure we
Well,
all
I mean,
want that, but
yeah, but keeping things in perspective, like it feels like it's the whole world crumbling when something's gone wrong, or if you can take a deep breath, step away from it, have some perspective. And I think that naturally a little bit comes with age. Like hopefully as we get older and wiser and, we learn that, hey, things worked out the way they were supposed to, or it's not as bad as I thought it was or felt like it was. I catch myself now being much more relaxed in the moment and not having to go through that roller coaster ride of
Mhm.
the sky is falling.
Hmm. Yeah, it's almost like going through life long enough, you realize, okay, it ends up being okay. And there's that phrase of it's always okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end.
That's helped a lot.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Next question would be when you've lost hope or felt overwhelmed, what does help you find your way back? It's a dark
Me,
world out there at times. And so I think we all need a little bit of light and guidance when that hope and overwhelm takes over.
if something bad happens, I have this mechanism that, well, it probably happened for the best. Often good comes from bad. Not always, but if I keep that attitude, it has worked out for me to keep that attitude. Now, that's if a relationship doesn't work out or your house doesn't sell or you don't get the promotion or something like that. That's one way, but what if you lose a loved one? That's a different way of handling it. And I would ask, well, what would that person want for you? And obviously, if they loved you, then they would want you to be happy. And so you would keep that memory going and the love going, but you move on. It's life life is for the living. So you just keep going.
Just keep swimming. like
Deep
Tori
swimming,
says.
deep swimming.
Yeah. Yeah, you have a gift of laughter. I feel like laughter is one of the best medicines. And most of the time, if I call you, you've already started laughing just because I say hello. And she
Well,
starts,
there I go.
she'll just
Sometimes
start
she just
laughing.
thinks funny and starts laughing, and we don't know what it is that she's
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah,
But then
Yeah.
she gets to laughing such a chuckle that she can't talk about what it is she's thinking because it's too funny.
but
Well, it's why I bring that up now too is just the rosy outlook on life. You choose laughter. I know you also sometimes choose seeing the other side of the spectrum too. And it seems like that is a big part of your philosophy in life is to choose the rosy side of things. Okay, Mom, did you have anything else that you wanted to share on that?
Well, just thinking about what Mom just said, the I was raised with the attitude that you put your big girl pants on and you move
yeah,
on.
yeah.
So you had a moment to sulk or cry or
Mhm,
be sad about something, and then you got to figure out how to get
mhm,
past it.
mhm.
Did that feel healthy for you? Because I think there is sort of of your generation, there's that mentality of pull yourself up by the bootstraps. There's no real time for that. Did it feel,
Yeah, it didn't feel unhealthy. I think with experience, I learned that that was true, that I could get through hard things. I mean, it
Mhm.
didn't feel unhealthy.
Mhm. Yeah, you can get through hard things. We all
Hmm.
need that reminder. So, what do you think people today worry too much about?
I find that they complain and worry about small things. What we have to do is decipher, is it something that we can fix and do something about it, or is it something we can't do anything about? So we either address it and do something and stop complaining, or we move on and avoid dwelling on something we can't fix. For me, staying active, there's a lot of people and amazing things in this world. So broaden your world and think of those things or explore those things instead of dwelling on something you can't fix anyway.
Yeah, two things come to mind with that. I had a previous partner that would ask, are you problem finding or solution finding right now? And a lot of the time I would be problem finding and I wasn't coming up with solutions. And so you're saying, of course, see what you can change, and if you can't change it, move on. And so as somebody who is stubborn and doesn't take no for an answer, where's that line of making sure that you are changing the things that you can change and also not giving up because it's hard or because I think about all the people who fought for women's rights back in the day, at one point they said, well, we can't change this. Where's that line to know, okay, I need to broaden my perspective. I need to move on, stop focusing on this as much.
That's really the hard part is deciding what can I control, or if I can't control it, do I have any influence over it? And then the rest I have to let go because I
Mhm.
don't have any control or influence.
I think we often try to make huge leaps as well with before recognizing that, well, opening the door for someone at the grocery store made a big impact that you didn't realize, or we're trying to change huge things before we look at what's going on in our own life and the impact we're making with the people we see on a day to day or
Yeah, little things matter.
Mhm.
Like just smiling at someone might be the difference in their day that costs you nothing to do,
Mhm.
and makes and can have a big impact on them.
Mhm. Yeah.
That actually, something like that happened to me recently at the gym. There's two rooms, and this woman that I had just met went to the other room for that equipment in there, and I was still in the back room. And before she left, she popped back in to the room where I was and wished me a happy day.
So simple.
It's so simple. She doesn't realize the impact that had. Yeah.
Yeah, the butterfly effect of one smile or a wave or a just kind gesture really does. And I think to kind of get into the woo-woo side of things, I think we have energetic impacts on the collective in ways that we don't always realize. And so even it's almost like adding, maybe it is just a drop in the bucket that doesn't feel very big, but if everyone's doing that, it does influence. Do we have hope in humanity? Do we choose kindness? Do we choose love, curiosity? Curious to hear, Mom, your answer on the question of what do you think people today worry too much about?
I think people worry too much about what other people think. The majority of people aren't thinking what you're thinking they're thinking. They're thinking about themselves.
Mm.
Yes.
I wish I had learned that earlier in life, that I don't need to worry about what other people are thinking. I need to stay focused on what I'm thinking.
Mhm. It's kind of a mind twister. What I think they're thinking is
It's
actually just what
it's
I think. You are creating this idea of what you think they're thinking. So it's
Mhm,
actually just what you're thinking at the end
mhm.
of the day. It's your
It's still
judgment
my thought.
about
Yeah.
yourself. It's your judgment that you think they're thinking. You're projecting a mind. This is why it's a mind twister. But you don't actually know what someone else is thinking.
Nothing.
You are thinking what they think, which still comes back to you at the end of the
It's still
day.
my thought.
Yeah. Unless they've very
It's an
directly told you.
inception inside the thought, inside the thought.
Yeah. Okay, so for the next question, how has your definition of success changed over the years?
Success to me now, later in years, is more about freedom and choices than it is about job title or money or possessions. So success to me now is that I have an option to spend resources on a fantastic trip or experience, or freedom to explore other activities, hobbies, or whatever.
Ditto.
Oh, no.
Yep, same. It's valid. Yeah. So our last question here is if you could give one piece of advice to someone feeling lost right now, what would it be?
I referred that back to a friend who we were on a project of some kind, and there was logistics and timing. And she finally said, I can do this. What she was telling herself was to pause, rethink the situation. And I often think of, I can do this. I just stop and think, I can do this. I really liked what she had to say. And this has been some years ago, and that has stayed with me. It's the attitude of, I can do this.
Yeah, can-do attitude.
That's right. There you go.
I'm sure there are other parents listening to this and think about the gifts that I was given that aren't tangible, the privileges that were passed down via beliefs and thoughts. And that can-do attitude is one of them of, okay, how are you going to do this? Like there's something finding the solution. I think about times where I would come up to my mom and have a pretty intense plan about moving to Ghana to do this thing and it's like
Yeah, I remember.
and at the time she goes, "Okay." She didn't shut it down. She just said, "Okay, how are you going to do that?" Right? And
Mhm.
it trained me to recognize, okay, it's not a no. It's just a what are the logistics? And sometimes I would talk through the logistics and say, actually, I don't actually want to do that.
Yeah.
And I would come up with my own decision on that, where but it wasn't a shutdown. It was a training my thoughts and beliefs to say, well, you can do that.
Mhm.
I don't really know how yet, but you can.
Mhm.
And we'll figure out the can, like
Mhm.
how that's going to happen. But the underlying belief is, yes, let's do that. And we'll figure out how. So thanks, Mom.
You're welcome.
I follow in MorMor's footsteps in terms of living life non-traditionally. And I've probably given you a lot of challenging sleepless nights because of the plans that I had that I was trying to do. So thanks
Yeah,
for that.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're welcome.
What about
I
you?
think
What's your answer?
I mean, when someone's feeling lost,
Yeah.
I would recommend to lean into support wherever they can get it, loved ones or support groups, or leaning in. and knowing that you can't do everything yourself, that you need that support to get through, to feel hope and better. So lean
Right.
in.
Yeah. And oftentimes, I know for myself, I've been in the place of wanting to isolate or wanting to do it by myself or not wanting to be a burden on other people. And one of the things that has really helped me in that, actually leaning in when I felt more like a burden to people, is recognizing that people like helping most of the
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
People, it feels
You're
good.
depriving them of something that people want. If your loved ones and the people that support you, they want to help.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people say, well, what can I do to help? Sometimes you don't know the answer, but letting them in and supporting you in even in the most minute way
Hmm.
is good for both of you. It's good for you that needs that support, and it's good for the person that's doing the supporting.
Hmm.
Because sometimes they feel helpless that they don't know what to do.
Yeah, sometimes it can be hard, especially if you're the person that's feeling lost and wanting support that you don't really know what, because then it feels like an additional task, right? Of, well, they're
Right.
saying, well, what can I do for you? And you say, well, I don't know what I can do for myself right now. So I have no idea what you can do for me. And so sometimes I'll even say something as simple as, honestly, you just reaching out and asking in itself is helping. So thank you. Keep doing that. Keep checking on me. That helps. And just sometimes that means just listening, or sometimes it's okay to not have an answer and just say, honestly, what you're doing right now is helping me feel care and support. And thank you.
I want to add to when I say I can do this, to accomplish it may need to ask others
Hmm.
for help. It could be Chris, I've run some things by you recently, um, and or it could be YouTube. I mean, but you do it. You get it done
Hmm.
with
Yeah.
help.
Um, Humans are here to support each other, and we need it now more than ever to lean
Mm.
in to each other and offer support and receive it, because that can be in itself a really hard thing of, we want to have it look like we have it all together, or
Mhm.
offering. I actually talked to you more about this not that long ago, to where there is a recognition that support is not a weakness. Like, you asking for support or you getting support from someone isn't a weakness. It's actually a strength. We can
Mhm.
have so much power and impact
Mhm.
when we work together. And in today's, coming full circle, in today's world where we have algorithms that are funneling our perspectives and having less of an objective reality and less interaction with each other, and we're not as connected. And
Yeah,
so
and
craving that.
evolutionarily, we're wired to be connected. So evolutionarily, to keep up with all of this technology that just exploded, as humans, we're still wired to be connected to each other.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah. So reclaiming some of that, it's a great encouragement. I know I need that reminder a lot, and I'm thankful to have you two to lean into. And I know that not everyone does. So hopefully people here got a little bit of motherly and more wisdom today. Is there anything else that you want to share before we
I,
wrap up this
I
episode?
do want to say that it's a two-way street. We get it from you too.
Yeah,
That's something that my mom has said before, that your kids end up being the greatest mirrors and teachers in the at the end of the day.
absolutely true.
Well, it's an honor to be your offspring.
Well, we couldn't be more proud of you
No, we
Thank
for the
you.
couldn't.
person that you are.
No.
Thank you. If you're listening and you do have a loved one that you haven't talked to in a while, I think something that we always find out too late is that we don't have all the time that we think we have with them. So call them, love
Yep.
on them. Something too that I think about is that you haven't met all the people that you are going to meet in your life. Like, I think about MorMor's story. We haven't even talked about your love and your current marriage, but like, when did you meet Brad?
We've been
Which
married
how old were you? Well, and how old were you when you got married?
74.
74. Yeah.
He proposed on my 74th birthday. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that story because for a lot of us, we think, okay, 20s need to look this way, 30s need to look this way. I need to be married, have kids, do the whole thing before whatever it is. And MorMor offers a really great story of she's in love, she travels more than I do. They're like high schoolers laughing all the time. And it's just it's cool because we try to fit into the box that we had, the plan that we had for life. And I don't know if this would have been your plan necessarily, but you're one of the
No,
happiest people I know in a relationship.
very
And
fortunate.
you just found it later in life. And you had
Yeah.
a big time of life where you were single and getting to know yourself and having your own,
She was
just
living her
writing your own
life.
story. Yeah, you were
Yeah,
just,
but she was living her life. She wasn't looking for something or, like not feeling, well, I'm just going to speak for you, Mom,
Yeah,
not feeling less than whole because she wasn't in a,
no, I was quite content to be
yeah.
where I was. Yeah. I was single 33 years. Yeah. So,
Mhm. Yeah, and you lived very fully throughout all of those years. So I share that story because we hadn't touched on it, but I think there's some lesson there for folks that feel like, oh, I'm behind, or oh, I'm never going to find that person, or
it's not too late.
it's not too late for
It's
anything,
true.
really. There's so many. I love the stories of, I don't know the exact age that Martha Stewart was, for example, when she wrote her first book, or when there's so many examples of these extremely successful and happy, fulfilled people that didn't get a start until later. I love your story too because you were happy and fulfilled throughout, and you weren't waiting for someone to complete you or
I was 37 before I took my first college course. Yeah.
yeah. So 37 when you took your first college course, and then you moved abroad when.
I moved abroad when I was in my early 40s.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for both being inspiring people in the world and in my life.
You too. Have a good one.
Love you both.
Love you.
I hope that you enjoyed meeting my mom and MorMor. If you wanted to say things to them, I'm sure that they're reading the comments. Go ahead and leave any comments or things that stuck with you below. If you enjoyed this episode in any way, if this helped you in any way, please like, subscribe, share, leave a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple. Thanks so much for being here, and I will see you in the next episode.